day one in Illinois, and I'm taking around the weed eater just because I really want to get these huge mock scrapes. I usually take around what I call a dummy stick, a little sling blade, and it works pretty good, but this always made a little too much noise for my liking. But I wanted to try something a little different a buddy of mine has been doing, so we'll see if it works. I gotta plant these plots. Next 2 days we got rain coming in. It's Friday night, rain coming in Monday, and it has rained twice in the last 24 hours, so it's pretty wet. So I'm gonna disc the ground one more time, cultipack it, and then seed it. Everything's already tilled up, fertilizer's in, everything. And I'm gonna plant it, cultipack it again. So hopefully I can get my wife to help me. Nick was coming to help me, he's got car trouble. She's gonna run the fuller, I'm gonna run the tractor. And I'll go back and seed it. So, and then I gotta check these cams. Because then kids got school Monday, Charlotte's first day of school Monday. Gotta knock it out, get back home, and get it done. Good Saturday morning. We are in Pike County, Illinois. I got in yesterday afternoon and checked and refreshed up some mock scrapes on some cameras, checked some cameras, probably on about 10 of them. I'll probably have another 15 to go on this farm. And I'm in a little bit of not a time crunch. I got a day and a half, but I'm trying to plant these plots and move those cameras. Tucker, guy helps me out on the farm some, he got everything disced up last Thursday. And we almost planted, but I wasn't here, I couldn't be here, and I'm kind of I don't want to say a perfectionist, maybe micromanager of the food plot. So I wanted to be here when we planted them, and my schedule worked out this weekend, and plus I wanted to get a little more moisture in the ground. There was no rain guaranteed pretty much, or not, nothing's guaranteed. There was no rain in the forecast, a high chance, until this weekend or the following week. And so last Thursday there's been 3 rains since then. One of them was a gully washer that was not even remotely in the forecast. So if they were in the ground last week, we'd be doing really good. But I have found the earlier you plant over here, you got to deal with 2 things. It's a lot hotter over here than Iowa, so you got to deal with a lot of weeds and you got to deal with armyworms. And a couple of my buddies that planted 1st of August have already had to spray for weeds, and armyworms are out and about. It seems like they're hit or miss this year. I talked to my guy at FS last night. He says, but where they are bad. So by waiting this late, I feel like our chances are better at dodging both of those. But I got a predicament this morning. I got this disc. This disc hasn't been used in 2 years. And you typically till our plots under, spray them, till them under. It makes a nice firm, nice seed bed. We run it over the cultipacker. But since we've had 3 rains since he disked the fertilizer in or tilled the fertilizer in with our tiller, we have a little bit of a crust. And even though I was tempted just to seed right on top of it and cultipack, it probably would have been fine. Like I said, a little bit of a micromanager. I want to do it this way, but the issue is this tire is dry rotted, and I'm only going to be able to go. It's Saturday, so I'm only going to be able to go until that tire pretty much runs out on me. And when that happens, I got to go to town, and I got to go to town to get a tire before noon. So it's about 7:30. I got up fairly early this morning. I had to straighten the disc up, make them smooth, get some tools for when this tire goes out, and probably gonna have to leave the hair up at the top of the hill. That's my plan once it happens. And hey, miraculously, it may never, tire may not pop. I've pumped it up twice in the last probably 24 hours, and I don't like my chances on it. But we'll go till it blows. I'll drop the disc, and then I'll head to town and get it also. I'll get a couple other things. So it is what it is, but we're gonna get after it. Got a day and a half before kids go back to school, so I got to get it done. The tire is holding up good, but it's actually so packed in mud. The tube's not even exposed anymore. But it's a little wetter than I thought, unfortunately. I mean, it's to the point where I may have to stop. I can do these tops, but the edges of these tops, it ain't gonna happen. Obviously, that's a little wetter than I'd like, but it's just knocking that crust off. Could be worse. Field number 3 here, and it's what we call a super saddle. If you can see right down through here, that's a clover little stretch. It was kind of, it gets too much shade, so we've left it in clover. It's a pretty good stand of clover. It needs to be mowed right now. It's been about 3 or 4 weeks since it's been mowed. But this spot right here is just a late season spot. We'll put winter bulbs and sugar beets just to kind of hunt over on that box there. This plot's actually drier than army work field, so I'm not mad about that. That's seafood nachos. There's an old wood stand. That's a wood stand. This farm, if it's a big oak tree on a field edge or on a ridge top, it's got a wood stand built in it. But check her out, boys and girls. We're on the tube down on that bottom, and this is flopping around. It's still holding air, and I'm kind of at the point of the day where I have to do one of 2 things. I have to take it to the tire store to get it fixed if I'm gonna get it fixed today, or I just finish up. It's holding so good that I think I'm just gonna finish. I got 2 plots left up here, 2, and I think it'll hold up for those. If it doesn't, honestly, I think I can limp back on the 1 tire. I don't even have to limp back to the house. I can leave this up here, because I'll be done with it for today or probably the year. So, granted, I don't have to replant, knock on wood, nothing near wood. So I think I'm gonna chance it. Look at that. Still holding air. Like crazy holding air. She's good to go, baby. I ain't even got to get a new tire now. Actually, I probably should better do that pretty soon. All right, had to go to town, get some oats. I'm out of Green Patch Plus, so I had to get oats. I like to put about 10 pounds to acre to my brassicas, whether that's clover or radishes, winter bulb, sugar beets, whatever. That's what I like to do. I got that. I had to get a couple nuts to attach this with the 3rd U-clamp, and I got the lawnmower running for the wife to cut the grass. I have loaded up my 4Runner with all the seeds, so I'm going now and cultipack everything. I don't have a Casco here, unfortunately. I got this small one. It'll have to do. It's not super heavy, but we'll pull it up there, and I'm going to cover everything up that I did this morning. It was probably close to 7-8 acres. I'm going to cover that up, then I'll be ready to plant. If I get planted today, great. If not, if I get this covered, today's the winner. High temp limp home mode. Things was going too good. I knew it was probably going to be running a little hot though. It's 100 degrees, and I'm pulling this thing. It's not a ton of weight, but it's more than it's used to. Could hook it up to the tractor, I guess. I didn't really think about that, but. All right, got the seed wagon right here. Got all the seed in the back. What we did, I just seeded this one. I seeded the bottom plot. Now my wife's gonna run this cultipacker, but this bad boy still back to running hot. It's not cooled off. It's about 6 o'clock and it's still warm. And I have an impatient 4-year-old. What is it, babe? Okay, she wants to go now. You want to go now? What do you want to go do? Huh? Play at the house. Okay. Check out my team coming it up. What up? Hey, hey. All right, my wife's covering that up. I figured I'd make a mock scrape. This is a spot we call 80. My dad's killed a deer or two right here. Stand, and I made this scrape. I did a hemp rope. I put some dominant buck on it. I weeded this out, scraped it out with my dummy stick. It made a pretty good looking community scrape. This corn has been hammered by the deer and the raccoons. You can see that ladder stand right there. We got a lone wolf up. Once you get there, you got this is where I'm leaving the corn. You can see the box blind. It's about 3/4 acre of corn. Sometimes I'll put a green plot here. And honestly, I made the decision about a month ago to not put a green plot here because corn looked decent. A month has went by, the corn does not look decent. But I went in there and I overseeded. I took winter bulb sugar beets and I lost the hopper for my little blower thing. I forgot that. It's infuriating. I can't find it. But nonetheless, since the corn was beat down so bad, I put the winter bulb sugar beets in the hopper in the front of the 4-wheeler and spread some out. I know I don't get the coverage that way as I do with my blower, but it is what it is. It's not like I can buy those at the store. All right, my wife's finishing up the last plot of the night, but she's got the cedar on there as well, so I just seeded this green patch plus out of a box with my hand in this little old plot. This is not much of anything, but we're gonna put a stand, I think right there. It's just a good little access point that comes all together. So what I'm doing, I just want clover here. It's not really a plot we're gonna hunt per se, but I want just a little more forage here. It's in between 2 cornfields. It's a heck of a little ridge saddle, but just have it nice and some clover I think would be pretty cool. More of a morning spot, I would think, but especially in the pre-rut. But we seeded it last year and it did okay, but this year really perfect conditions, so I think it'll be good. No, don't spray that. So good first day in Illinois. It was about, it's a 14-hour day. It was a good day. Well, I got everything packed this morning. I say packed. I got all my seed packed. Brought the folder. I left the cultipacker up here. And so what I have 3 plots left. I have to cultipack first, seed, then cultipack. So I'm on a little bit of a time crunch. And I got also up here, I got about 6 or 8 more cameras checked, mock scrapes to refreshen. So I want to get all that done in about 3 hours. And this 3 plots probably total right at 3 acres. And then I got the 2 bottom plots, which hopefully by midday will be dry enough to disc and plant. I may skip a cultipack step there. We'll see. You'll see how they look if they're dry enough. May not even plant. But that's the plan. We got to get after it. Giving the cultipacker a break and fixing one of these. This is a little hodag. I just checked this bog, had some pretty good picks. Some of the deer hitting the water. Some of them just walking through the clover here. Some of them are messing with this. Not a ton yet. I'm gonna freshen it up with their juice, and already swapped that card, and I may kick this out a little bit just to resemble more of a kind of little scrape action. Got some pretty good deer on camera over here this year. Everybody's been saying that with Illinois. Just a ton of rain. And honestly, pretty good deer. Probably one of my biggest deer ever over here. And he was a big 4-year-old, we think, last year. Really good 5-year-old this year. So that, some other really good deer. Good 10s, massive 8s, kind of 2 or 3 deer with triple main beams. So that's cool. Not 100% sure who they are from last year, but should be exciting. This place just fires me up every time I pass a stand or somewhere where I have a memory. I just love it over here. This is how I make a mock scrape. I started making them a little bigger just because they get grown in so fast. So what I've been doing this trip is about the size of a truck hood. If I got a perfect limb or what's typically been a community scrape for bucks over the years, I won't really add a hemp rope, but a lot of times I'll add a hemp rope. I'll put, you know, some type of deer urine on it, typically bucks. The Smokies works really well. I've tried some, you know, just about all of them. Probably the Smokies has worked the best or lasted the longest for me. I got my camera right there. This one, probably will put a rope. The good thing I like about this particular spot is, one, if that scrape's not here, these deer are going to walk this logging road, this timber road on this ridge. They're going to walk it. Obviously, I got this water tank over here. That's not going to really factor into the picks, but they walk by it, they get it. This food plot's about to be planted in radishes, so there's going to be a lot of deer activity in here. They're going to be coming and going. I made this. This scrape right here will last all fall. It's within bow range of that blind. And when I tear them up, sometimes I'll use a weed eater in this, but this just makes so much less noise. It's a little more horsepower, I guess, to get it done. But when I'm throwing that, when I'm cutting these weeds back and I'm making as much ground disturbance, I'm throwing the dirt as much as I can, because that's what deer smell. You know, at least I think the first few days that I make these. They're coming over here more of curiosity. What's going on here? What's happened? So scratch up the ground, throw the dirt, the grass, just make as much ground disturbance as possible. Then if I can, you know, do some type of little deer lure or something like that, that'll just keep them in the area longer, where I can get some pics and see what's going on. I'm gonna swap this camera card and then add some deer lure. All right, guys, here is a prime example. And I'm always saying I put cameras on fence gaps in Illinois. I got my bog camera here. I got it facing this way. I cleared a big path right here. We had a camera here last month, put this camera out last month, but it grown back up. So I look at the trails and I clear all the way to the trails, because I don't want a deer to walk by, his head be down, he trigger the camera and be behind some weeds or whatever. So I don't think that inhibits their movement through here. You got a pinch point here. You got woods here, woods here, woods here, a cornfield there, cornfield here. So these deer are transitioning through here. This fence is up pretty tight all the way down this power line. So it's a gap that I have put a camera here every year since I've owned this farm. It's a good spot and something you don't have to have a mock scrape or anything out. Deer are just naturally going to funnel through here. And I wish I had more places on this farm like this, but it's such big timber that they just kind of go everywhere. But that is a prime example when I talk about fence gaps. Go for a little walk down this creek. My suspicion is if it's EHD, we'll be in this water. He, she, it, whatever. Huh. The buzzard got up right in there on the road by. There it is. Golly. Little doe. Doe fawn. Huh. Even though it died next to this creek, we're not far off the main road, maybe 100 yards, so the deer could have gotten hit. It's a fawn. I'm not saying fawns don't die of EHD. I've never seen one. I've seen hundreds of deer dead of EHD, and I've never seen a fawn dead. But it is August end of August, and it's by a creek. So, who knows? Who knows? All right, my wife just seen a snake back in here, so she was a little freaked out. So we come in here, brought the cultipacker, and I was going to go ahead, but the way this cultipacker works, I had to flip it over to transport it. It's just too much strain going down the road, dragging those wheels, or those cultipacking wheels. But this is plot number 9. Again, it was a little more clumpy, so I did not cultipack it in. I just lightly dissed it, and put those new prototype radishes down here. So we'll do those and one more. It's about a 3/4 acre plot, and we're done. Now I'm gonna just peruse around here trying to find an artifact or two. What do you think, Cash?
Piggy.
Huh?
I don't know.